Good morning, everybody. I always think, I'm gonna get up and put makeup on, gonna look decent on one of these videos, and then never happens. So, hey, it's raw, live footage. Um, okay, so welcome to, holy cow, week 4? Yeah, week 4. This is when all the fun begins. I know you're not thinking anything's real fun right now as you're working on your revisions, hopefully, excuse me, for your rhetorical analyses. Those are due tonight by midnight. Um, I'll be looking for those and giving you feedback. It'll probably take me a little longer to get the final drafts back, not because they take longer, because actually they take a little less time, but because I have some other stuff coming in my other classes. So it was a pretty quick turnaround on the drafts, which is atypical. Usually takes me a little longer, but I wanted to push through them so you could get these finals in, final drafts, that is. Okay, now for the next, ooh, fun exploit. You're going to begin thinking about and considering topics, issues, things that exist in our world, in your worlds, that interest you, but that also give rise to some controversy. I don't want you to go on and just find controversial issues. What I want you to do is have a legitimate question, your own question, okay? So like something that you want an answer to. Excuse me. And then through your research, the probing process of trying to find some answers to these questions, then I want you to determine a direction to go for what will ultimately be the larger, longer position paper for the semester. Even though it seems a little premature maybe to begin that, now that we're a month in, I want you to start doing this research. This one is going to require you to do some pretty intense investigating. It's going to culminate in an annotated bibliography where you're going to effectively annotate and evaluate sources. And then you will write a researched argument that will be rather extensive. Okay, so it's not like 12 pages, used to be, not anymore, but 6 to 8 pages. So a reasonably well-developed argument that has you, but also the integration of outside voices and source material. So I want you to move into this topic with great care because it's a topic you're going to be resting on for a very long time because we do another piece with this particular or some aspect of this topic. What I want you to do for now is to begin thinking about potential, I don't want to say topics because you're really not in a position to decide which direction you're going, but some questions. I want you to just start, I guess, brainstorming some research questions. What do you want to know more about? Like, are you interested in what our immigration policy is? Are you interested in what kind of damage vaping does, or what the history of the industry is, or whatever, in nicotine? Maybe you want to look at what kinds of programs we have in place for opioid treatment or addiction treatment. There's a lot of different directions that you can go. What I do not want you to do is choose something that you already think you know the answer to. Okay? So like if you already know how you feel or what you think, that's not the topic I want you to choose for this one. The purpose is to use the investigative process as one of discovery and understanding, and then ultimately position building. So if you already feel very firmly about whatever, gun control, say, which really not something I would encourage, but say that's something you feel, I mean, the position, I don't care whether you're pro or con, but if it's something that you don't feel like you have anything else to learn about, then I don't want you researching that. Okay. If you're not really sure, let's say that you do have an interest in some of our policies and what we do with gun control. That might be something I would encourage you to investigate. Maybe you really think you know, but turns out you don't know what policies are out there or what positions exist. So those are the kinds of things that I want you to start thinking about. I'd like for you to plan on having three potential topics posted to the discussion board, and all this is detailed in the content module. But I want you to think a lot about what might interest you, and then we'll get some feedback on those before you move forward. I know you're still working on your other essays, so it's not that I'm trying to rush you. I just want you to begin thinking about things. We've been posting these hot topic discussions. You guys posted some of your own, some really interesting stuff, just things that are occurring to you. Those are the kinds of things that I think you want to maybe think a little more about, or maybe it's just something that struck you and you're like, wow, I'd like to know a lot more about that. I can promise you this. If you choose something that you care about and that you genuinely want to do some research on, you will write a much better paper. If you choose something because, oh my gosh, in 7th grade I did a speech on it, probably not going to fare as well. So work hard to allow yourself the room to learn something. I mean, that's the goal, is to really move in that direction. You might want to choose something that affects you locally. All right, it doesn't have to be a global issue. It doesn't have to affect the world. It could be about your hometown. It could be about the University of Akron. It could be about dogs. Find out why my little girl here is so mean all of a sudden. She has senility. She's old and she's attacking one of our other dogs like on a regular basis. Loves humans, but suddenly really hates the dog that she lives with. Kind of like marriage, I think. It's one of those things that happens over time. But maybe you look into that, like dog behavior. Maybe you look at sibling order, what that does, what kind of impact that has on characteristics or personality traits, or there are so many things that you can look at. I just want you to broaden your minds a little bit and learn something and make it worthwhile. So that's number one on the list once you finish your essays for tonight. Number two on that list is the hot topic for this week, which is on CTEs. So I'm curious to see your positions on those. You're doing a really, really good job on these hot topic postings. I feel like I'm getting to know a little bit more about each of you just by virtue of your responses, and I appreciate that. I think it's a very interesting way to come to know one another. Where, you know, if we were sitting together in class daily, we would know these things about each other, and I think it reveals a lot. And I respect all of your opinions, and I think you're doing a really good job of maintaining those positions respectfully, and responding respectfully even when you disagree to other people's positions. So I'm very pleased with the responses that I'm seeing on there. I like reading them. I try not to comment, but sometimes I just have to, because I like for you to have like the freedom of the forum, but at the same time I love reading them. So that's where we are now. We're going to start moving toward this paper, and I will be talking about very little else probably over the next month or so, as we build the annotated bibliography and you start gathering sources. I will tell you this. For now, I just want you thinking about topics, but if you run across a particularly compelling article or piece of evidence, save it. All right. If you think it's something that you want to come back to later, you don't want to have to try to find it again. So research and think a lot about that. Think also about what we're talking about, which is, where are you getting your news? Where are you getting this information? Okay, it has to be credible. I'm going to push you into the library's databases because I know they're credible, but that's not to say that that's the only place you're going to find information. So you have to figure out how to work through the biases. Are there biases? Oh, absolutely. In everything, you bet. You just bet there are. Okay, people have agendas. You have to be able to sort through some of that and determine what's at least credible. Okay, working through the CRAP test, or working through some of like that spectrum, the University of Michigan, the site with the spectrum, you know, so you see like more liberal sources versus more conservative sources, and then those that attempt at least to fall somewhere in between. Knowing where somebody's coming from gives you, a little more power. Doesn't mean that what they're saying is wrong or that it's not credible. It just means that it has that bias that might affect the interpretation or understanding of the information. And we know that's true, right? So we could all watch the same exact thing and take away something a little different depending on our connection to it. So let's just keep that in mind as you're doing your research, and I certainly will be talking much, much more about that. In the meantime, you can take a look at that other, you can look at obviously this week's content module where I'm leading you in some directions, but then also take a look at I think it's called capstone essay or research argument module. There's a lot of stuff in there, okay? Start glancing through it. I want you to at least take a look. You can see the assignment. It's there first. Okay, so that's just the overall capstone essay assignment. But prior to that, you're going to be doing the annotated bibliography. You're going to be working through research questions, researching the argument, and taking a look at some of the things that are out there. So we'll stay the course that way and stay posted on Brightspace, of course. At least check those announcement pages every day or two, because things change. I don't know if they really change, but you know, I put some updates. All right, folks, hope all is well for you and that you're keeping your head above water. If you need me, you know where I am. Oh, also, you know, maybe it's time to say that. Those of you that are on campus or that can be on campus, if you would ever like to stop in and see me, I'm in my office quite frequently. Not today, though, which is nice. I'm at home. But every other day, I'm in my office, and when I'm not in class, I'm happy to meet with you. In fact, when we get to the point where we are working on our capstone essays in earnest, I am going to require a conference with you. It might be virtual, so we can, you know, meet over WebEx or FaceTime or whatever, or we can meet face to face on campus. But I do want to have some time to talk to you just about what you're planning on writing and how you're going to go about that. But so keep that on the back burner. All right, folks, I swear I'm signing off this time. Have a great day.